Well, we got the most anticipated film that probably no one has any interest in seeing. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's Apple TV Plus original movie review of Ghosted, the newest film from director Dexter Fletcher. Okay, so Ghosted is, of course, a new film from Apple TV Plus. It is directed by Dexter Fletcher. It is a film that stars Chris Evans and Ana Armas. Basically, this starts out as a love story. There is a young woman who's traveling around the countryside. She finds a young man who's played by Chris Evans, and they hit it off. They have their one-night stand, and of course, she ghosts the Chris Evans character. You know, ghosting is basically you stop answering texts and stuff like that, and basically he loses his inhaler, and he decides he's going to go find that inhaler in London, where he finds out that his girlfriend, or his one night stand, is a CIA agent. She is in the middle of an investigation. She's in the middle of trying to track down and take down this individual who's played by Adrien Brody. They're looking for somebody named the Taxman. Chris Evans gets involved. He is assumed to be that Taxman, and it basically turns into an action-adventure film with some, interesting ideas, I guess you could say, when it comes to romantic interest turned action-adventure movies. So that's your story. Then it gets into hijinks, and there you go. That is your story of Ghosted. And so with that said, this movie was really kind of strange when it came to the idea of it. It is most notably known for the trailer, like I said, with the kind of switch on the genres of what film it was trying to portray. And it looked like it was going to be an okay time at the theater. This is this is co-written by, of course, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who of course are known for doing stuff like Deadpool and stuff like that. But this was a movie that kind of was putting people off just based on how it shifts tones so dramatically in the trailer. But I was interested in seeing it. I like Chris Evans. I like Ana Armas. You have Adrien Brody, who, for better or worse, is a pretty good actor. This is a movie that also has Amy Sedaris and, of course, Tate Donovan in it, as well as some other people like, Marwan Kenzari and stuff like that. So it was an interesting idea and concept. The question really remains, is this movie any good? Is it worth watching? It's an Apple TV Plus original movie, which they've been doing a pretty good job recently, but the question remains, is it really good? So that's where we are standing. And so for my honest review of this movie, to be fairly honest, it's not a bad movie. It's an entertaining movie for what it's worth. I think Chris Evans and Ana Armas are fine. I don't know if the chemistry really works between the two of them, but they're having fun. Everyone's having fun in this movie. Even Adrien Brody's having fun. It's a movie that, is very fluffy and light. It could be in theaters. It could be a good popcorn movie. It could be a movie that makes like $30 million. It's one of those movies where you get a sense that it's being put out to kind of garner an audience, to gain subscriptions because of the cast involved. And it's just a fine movie. It's not a great movie. It's not a terrible movie. It has some interesting action. It has some interesting comedy. It doesn't, insult your intelligence, even though it's not the greatest film in the world. And it's a movie where, you get to see people like Tim Blake Nelson show up for a few minutes, or you get to see, some really cool action stunt pieces and stuff like that. Some of the visual work is really bad, and I didn't find this movie as insulting or as bad as I thought it was going to be, and that's perfectly fine with me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a movie where, in the end, you're not really going to remember it after a week or so. It doesn't really hold that status. It's just there to be entertaining for what it's worth. You grab a bucket of popcorn, you watch the movie, and get entertained. So now, with that said, there are some things that I didn't really care for in this movie. I don't want to spoil it too much because I know people want to see this movie, or some people want to see this movie. But there are things thrown into this movie, and you'll know exactly what it is, where I really question if they really needed that. It's more of just like, oh, we are big enough stars, we are big enough writers and directors, we can do a little bit of this and that, and we can have a little bit of fun here and there. I just don't think it was needed. I think you have a good enough ideas with what's going on with their the main storyline, that you throw in that kind of like peppering and stuff like that. It felt like they were just kind of throwing money at the screen when they really didn't need to. And like I said, the visual work it's fine for what it is, but I feel like sometimes that movies are trying to be too inside jokey when it comes to the things they're doing. And like I said, you might laugh at some of the stuff they throw into this movie that I don't want to spoil, but I think in the end, when you are like really think about it, it feels like filler, like they're trying to pad out the movie a little bit. And I I don't know. I don't really care for that too much. But like I said, you know, it's fun to see Ana de Armas as a badass when it comes to a character, and have Chris Evans play like the the straight man in a lot of respects, and to kind of see that character progression. It's a movie that kind of goes exactly where you're expecting it to go, so there's no real surprises there. But and another thing that I didn't really care for, and this is becoming a problem, like in the Super Mario Brothers movie, this movie has needle drops, and it's not as offensive as what the Super Mario Brothers movie was doing, but it's well enough to be kind of like distracting a lot of respects, to be fairly honest. And that to me is just personally a problem. So that's where I kind of lie. The music's not too bad when it comes to the score. The action's not too bad. You can tell Dexter Fletcher is a pretty competent director. I think he did a little bit of work on Bohemian Rhapsody when that whole kind of thing fell through. But in the end, that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. It's, like I said, once again, a very predictable story. It's a very standard story that has that twist of the genre switching and stuff like that. It's a movie where at least the characters or the actors in the movie are having fun for what it's worth. And in the end, it's not a bad movie. That's kind of where I have to leave it. There's not much really else to talk about this movie outside of it's just switches genres. That's the biggest thing in the movie, and you know, you have to see how Chris Evans kind of twists and turns. It's kind of funny after Captain America and the stuff that Chris Evans has been doing the last few years, for him to like switch into this kind of role where it's like very different than what he's used to doing, but it is more of his like comedic sensibilities and stuff like that. And once again, Ana de Armas can kind of be a chameleon when it comes to the actress abilities that she's able to do. So with that said, that's going to do it. That's going to be my take on this film, which of course is Ghosted. It is now, you know, on Apple TV Plus as this review post. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Comments below. Did you like this movie? Are you going to watch this movie? Let me know overall what you think, all that good stuff. But if you, with that said, thank you so much. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.